Hello, I am Peter, and I am joined as always by Colleen and KZ. And on this week's show, we are going to talk a little bit about book reviews. So let me first start off with what is a book review? So if you go on to Amazon, if you go on to Goodreads, listen to our show last week about Goodreads, or really any other bookseller, you can find a little place at the bottom where there are reviews that readers have, shared what their thoughts are on the book. And there's also reviews that you can, as an author, put inside of your book. And those are usually from people who have read the book, who are experts in the field or advanced readers or other people who have a pre-release of the book who have been able to review or read and review the book. So there's kind of two different types of book reviews. And I'm going to turn it over to these ladies that I have with me today to talk a little bit about the reviews in specific. But let's first go to KZ, because I know you as an author have worked with some book reviews on both the author side and the reader side. So can I get a little bit of a background on book reviews from you today, KZ?
Sure, absolutely, Peter. Glad to talk about. This is a great topic for anyone who wants to be an author, but it's also a great topic for readers. It's important to on both sides that we understand what the process is and what you're really doing when you're giving a review. It's one of the most frustrating parts for an author is to get a low review, is to get a low score. Okay, we're talking about 5 stars here. So give someone a 3-star rating, and then in the text review say, "I love this book." Well, duh. You didn't really, apparently, or you didn't understand how the process works. So I'll use Amazon as an example, but when you have, when you like a book, when you really want to like it, you can leave a rating. Now, rating is just the stars. You don't have to leave text, okay? And so you can choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, whatever you want to on the ratings, okay? When you leave a review, you do leave the stars, you get the rating, but you also give text that goes along with it. And when a reader picks up the book from Amazon, looks at it on Amazon, they are looking at those stars, but they're also going down and clicking on the reviews to read what people say, especially if there's a wide range. If there's someone who's got 10 twos and 300 5s, they're probably not going to worry too much about it. But if you've got 10 twos and 3 5s, they're going to wonder. So they're going to go down and look at those reviews and see what other people are saying. Reviews are the same thing as you going out and standing in the grocery store with a friend and saying, "Hey, have you used this brand of rice before?" And your friend saying, "Yes, I loved it. It's easy to cook and it tastes great." That's what a review is doing. It's giving you that a validation of what you're considering to buy. And I think I've gone overboard here. So, Colleen, you want to add some things?
Oh no, I was going to talk about the author side of how we help people get reviews for their book. Is that good for you, Peter, for me to go on with that?
Yeah.
That's what we do with our authors. Ask them to really, if they can get 3 to 5 at least to start with, then those 3 to 5 reviews can go, some of them can go on the back of their book. It can help for the marketing of their book and their social media and their blogs or their author website, whatever it is. But having those reviews show that people have read the book and what they have to say about it. And generally, when you ask someone, they're going to be more upfront and give you the truth about what it is they like about the book. And so those reviews are great because they can go into the book. And then when you set up your online, like Ingram Spark or your Amazon accounts, then those reviews also can go in that the author can put in, but they've been validated by the reviewers, if you will. And you get those permissions back from those reviewers after they reviewed the book, then they are giving you permission to use that in your marketing materials.
No, yeah, that's super great information for both of you. Let me start off here real quick with Candy, KZ. There's been a meme going around recently that is a picture of a product with 500 5-star reviews and 0 2-star reviews, and the people are like, that could be questionable. Why are they all 500? But if you have 1,000 5-star reviews and 20 2-star reviews, people are like, oh, that person really knows what they're doing because they're getting real reviews.
That
I
is
think that's kind of
absolutely
funny.
true. Yeah, that is a funny meme, but it's also really, really true of what we're looking at in the industry. And also something to consider. I know we're not going that direction, but I'll just bring this in. Reviews are handled differently on nonfiction books as than they are with fiction books. In fiction, reviews are make or break. In nonfiction, they are also really important, but you don't always see thousands of reviews on the nonfiction side. It's not unusual to see hundreds and thousands of reviews on the fiction side.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, let me talk about that then in connection with what Colleen was talking about. A lot of the reviews from nonfiction books are from the people who are experts in the field about whatever the topic of that book is, and a lot of those are the books, a lot of those are the reviews that Colleen was talking about, where you talk to those experts and ask if they can give your book some validation, some proof before it becomes a live for sale book that other people can buy. And I'm going to go onto Amazon and just say, or say they are usually they're a different name. They're usually called something like a publisher's review or some sort of um, editorial review, which are the book reviews that happen before the books become live.
True. There's a limited number of those we can put out. They are the most powerful reviews. Those professional reviews are your most powerful. But they are, and those are the ones that you really want to make sure as a writer that you're taking advantage of it, because those are the ones you post and you get to choose which ones you add.
Yeah, that's so true. So let me ask Colleen here. So if you are a reader and you open up your book and you see on like the front flap, or maybe it's on the back cover of the book, and you see someone say like, this is the best book ever, and it's from, let's just say, like the New York Times, or another major newspaper or a magazine. So Colleen, how do those reviews show up on the book?
Well, they show up on the back of the book. Is that what you're talking about, Peter? Yeah, they show.
But how no one's read it yet. So how have the author been able to use that as a review on their book?
Well, I think what you're talking about is, how did they get that review on the book if it hasn't even been released yet? Well, they probably are, maybe they've been published by a traditional publisher, and the traditional publisher or that agent has reached out to New York Times or whatever place is giving the review, and asked them for it. They had an agent that was doing that marketing for them to help them get an early copy of the book or a working draft of the book to read, and then they would give that testimonial or review for the book.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah, and these are called advanced reader copies. And they are truly powerful. And you know what I love about those, Colleen, is the fact that it doesn't take an agent to do that. You, as the writer, if you're self-publishing, or whether even if you are with a company, a publisher, you can also send those out. You can send out those advanced copies of your book and solicit those reviews, and it's worth the effort.
Yeah, that's good advice. I forgot all about that and wasn't thinking of that end of it, but that's so true. You can advocate for yourself if you're self-publishing or not self-publishing.
Let me ask both of you, have either of you been an advanced reader and given a review before a book has gone out live?
I have a couple of times been asked in a beta reader group, and I've done it once or twice, but it's been a while since I have done that. How about you, KZ?
I have done it, and again, like you, I don't do it very often. I think the reason that we don't do it is not because it's not a good system or a good idea. It's because we are focused on helping writers, and so we're more focused on helping them to get into the system of advanced readers and take advantage of those reviews.
That's exactly how I feel about it too. Yeah, helping the author get out there. So I don't take a lot of time to do that, and do that advanced reader copy, beta reader.
KZ, so since we have talked about, this kind of came up, advanced reader copies, beta readers, early reviews, would you call them synonymous? Are they different? How would you compare those different terms?
Actually, they are different, and that's a great question, Peter, because a a beta reader is going to be used by the writer to look at a book that is primarily or mostly done. It may not be completely done, or one that the writer feels need some feedback to be sure that they aren't missing things. A beta reader is going to look at in more detail. They might be looking at just a chapter at a time, or they might be looking at the whole book. But a beta reader is going to give feedback on not quotes necessarily, not necessarily a review. They're going to give feedback on how the book is progressing, plot, structure, characters, in the nonfictions and the fiction side, and just general overall how it flows and content and continuity and clarity on the nonfiction side. And so that's what a beta reader does. Now, an ARC and an advanced reader copy, you might have a beta reader who does both. Okay, that's a possibility. But in general, a purely advanced reader copy reader is going to read the book that you give them, and it is almost always going to be an advanced copy. I have seen people go out with one that's already been published, and they want to get some more reviews, so they'll open up an ARC program process again. But in general, it's a book that hasn't been published yet, and so you're writing the reviews for a pre-published book. For the professional reviews that we get to put into your to give that extra boost, if you will, those are like the ones that Colleen was talking about with the New York Times or any place like that, where you're going to send them a copy of the book and ask them to give you the review in return.
That's really great information. One final question on reviews that I have for either of you to answer is, when you do send out these advanced reader copies or ask for these reviews before the book's published, is that necessarily the final book that they're going to read, or may there sometimes be changes between what the advanced reader copy is and the final publication?
That's pretty much always changes. One of the big changes you'll see is, in many cases, the final grammar check and spell check hasn't been performed. So anytime you see a review that says there's spell check or grammar errors, the spelling or grammar errors, well, it's good possibility that was an advanced reader.
Exactly. I find that a lot because I do a lot of the final proofs of the books, and you do come across a lot of inconsistencies, or making sure the names are spelled the same way if there's a certain name, all that type of stuff. So that's been my general notion too, or what I've come across when I've been doing that. So yeah.
That's really great. And since they are not the final book, I guess the final question I have, the second final question I have is, as an author, how long should you expect that this process will take? I mean, do you give the readers a week, a month, 6 months, somewhere in between?
Great question. Colleen, you want to take it first and I'll follow up?
Well, when I've been asked, sometimes you're asked to do it within a week. I mean, people want a 500-page book, advanced reader copied in a week, and it's like, oh, that's impossible if you really want a good read, I think. For me, I don't have that kind of time, but I've come across some that have been a few months. They've asked for a few months, which is more doable in some situations. It just depends on their timeline, but I think that a longer period of time for you to have that advanced copy reader out to people, I think you're going to get a better overall scheme of what's going on in the book and what needs to be changed. I don't know how you feel about that, KZ.
I think you've hit on the key there, Colleen, and that is the the entire publishing cycle for that particular book. So if it's fiction, okay, it's probably going to be a smaller book. It's probably going to be a faster read. In the fiction world, advanced reader copies are typically, those readers are asked to give their review within 7 to 10 days. At the most, you might see a 30-day window, okay? But it's rare to go that long. And that there's good reason for that. The fiction world generally publishes a bit faster than the nonfiction world. Nonfiction publications are usually on a longer prep cycle all the way through. So and there's usually a lot more emphasis on getting the professionals to read that, okay, and give reviews back. So yes, if it's a long book, you're going to have a longer read time. There is no hard and fast rule. It truly is driven by the publishing cycle for that particular publication.
Well, I think that's some really great information about reviews that we've talked about so far today. And I just want to say, finally, thank you both for sharing your expertise on this. Later in this episode, we're going to talk about a specific type of review that is pretty controversial and is come up in the news recently, and that's called review bombing. So please stick around, listen to the back half of this episode, and we're going to talk more about what review bombing is.